Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we're talking about The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 20, and our recommendations on Cabinet of Curiosities, Tell Me Lies, Home Economics, and more. Hi, Margaret. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. How are you, Diana?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
I know. Friday, but they don't know it's Friday.
I know, but we know it's Friday. So we can celebrate that it's Friday.
Unless you have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. True. So in this episode, we see a lot of Daryl and Carol, and we see a little bit of their journey in the beginning of the episode. And so it got me to thinking about them being a great duo and about the other duos on The Walking Dead. So our question of the day is, who is your favorite duo on The Walking Dead?
Well, me, I'm actually looking to see if I can find the character names, and I can't find them for my duo. Oh, Rosita. I like Rosita, and then I like Gabriel. I think they're a pretty good duo. Yeah, I like them.
I like that. There's so many. I was actually Googling it and finding out, what is out there. And there's a lot on favorite duos through the years. And there's even, there's just so many. I mean, there's Rick with Morgan. There's Rick with Daryl.
Oh, yeah. I forget about Morgan.
Yeah. And then, of course, Michonne and Rick, Daryl and Connie, Aaron and Father Gabriel. I mean, there's so many duos. They have Eugene and Abraham.
What about Jesus? Jesus and everybody else.
I don't know who. Tara? Was he friends with Tara?
He was friends with everybody, I thought.
Yeah,
I liked him too. I liked his character.
So, but for me, I'm going to choose Maggie and Glenn. Yes. I love them. I miss them together. I love them. And, of course, Rick and Michonne. I cannot wait for the spinoff. But there's so many good duos. There really is a lot that I, hadn't thought about. Even Beth and Daryl, they were a duo for a little while. So I love seeing the journey of all these people and the relationships they had. So friends out there, let us know what you think. Who is your favorite duo on The Walking Dead? You can leave us a comment on social media, our website, or email at screensinfocus@gmail.com. I would love to hear who you think is the best duo or your favorite duo on The Walking Dead. The links are in the show notes. Okay, so episode 20 is entitled What's Been Lost. We continue to see Pamela bent on bringing Eugene to justice and twisting Yumiko's arm to do the deed. All of our group are apprehended except for Daryl and Carol, who look to Hornsby to find their people. There's a lot of blood, death, and finally someone mentions dog. So Margaret, what did you think of this episode?
So when I first look at these things or watch these things, sometimes I'm not really that focused. So when I go back and I watch it again, just so that I have something to say, it amazes me at the detail and the editing and just how everything is so well done and just so put together as far as just from start to finish. It's not slapped together at all. It's like a piece of art, So that's, for me, that was what I really think hit me with the episode, because the characters are all so well developed at this point. You just expect good things from them anyway. And the other thing I thought, or that I noticed, was that there was a lot of blood. And a lot of gore and just a lot of, and it didn't faze them at all. But for us, we haven't really been seeing all that blood and goop. So I just thought that it was really, that's what really struck me. It moved along very quickly. And it was just so well put together that I didn't even, I was expecting more when they cut from the bus scene, and I just thought, okay, cut to commercial, and then we come back and it's the credits. And I was like, what do you mean it's the credits? Because I thought we'd have some kind of wrap up, and I think that just left you wanting more, dangling. So that's kind of my whole impression of the stuff that occurred. You expected it to happen. So that's why it wasn't such a shock for me.
So I feel the same way, but I think I've mentioned it after each episode. Every single one has left me hanging because I keep wanting more. So I feel like all of this section of episodes have been really good because I think they're so, they're really pushing us toward the end. So everything has been so good. So there's so much happening. So there's so much action. And I even wrote down that I felt that they were written really well and directed really well, which is basically, with you saying they were put together really well. So, so I noted that too. And of course, Judith has this commentary at the beginning and we get to see Daryl and Carol's journey. And I love seeing them through the years. I love that this episode concentrated on them and their relationship, and we get to see that again and what they've been through. So I enjoyed it. Did anything stand out to you in this episode?
For me, I don't like Pamela, but I'm feeling like they're really showcasing her evil side, because now we're beginning to see a little bit more of how she operates. They're revealing that she's not this bright, shiny thing. So that's kind of what stuck out to me, and how she really, I feel like she's just another dictator.
Yeah.
And, it's her way or the highway, which we never really felt because Hornsby always had worked into that. So that whole scene with him was gory and disgusting, but it didn't really shock me at all. I mean, the blood, just the staging shocked me, but everything else didn't really shock me. And it was interesting though, too, because here he is, this babbling idiot with the coin when they walk in there and then poof, he snaps out of it and he's able to make sentences and comprehend. So you have to kind of wonder what is going on with that guy. So was that just show, for sympathy, or was he constantly trying to manipulate the situation as well? So, and Carol didn't fall for it. Carol was pretty unemotional through the whole thing. And I think the most hard thing for me to believe was how Daryl could have gotten out of that situation once those two took off and he's in the tunnel and he's being, shot at. There are no hits. He didn't get hit, by any of those bullets. So that was a little incredulous for me. So, and they talked about dog.
Yeah.
But we didn't see dog on the bus.
No.
So what happened to dog,
Yeah.
Anyway, what were your interpretations, or
well,
what hit you?
It's Carol and Daryl, watching them. Seriously, I loved watching them because I think that Daryl has grown a lot in this season 11. And even, after having to shoot Leah and the things that he said with Maggie and taking care of the kids, all of that, he's just grown a lot. And so it was just, I just liked seeing his relationship with Carol. And I feel like they're just really honed in with each other. Like Daryl did this with Maggie too. Like they know how to fight other people. And the same thing with Daryl and Carol. They know how to escape. They're very observant, both of them. They both think ahead, Daryl and his, tracking ability. So I just love this about them. Toward the end, when they were their attitude and the way that they were reacting to Hornsby when he was trying to manipulate them and get them to give him another chance, and they weren't having it. It's like, I love that shot of them, just their stance, the way that they reacted. They were like, we are not falling for this. We know you. We don't need you. You've already spilled the beans about the train. Bye. And that Carol tells him that, we're giving you a head start. Like, we're giving you a lot here. You might as well take it. So, also when Daryl was fighting with that guy on the ground, toward the beginning.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Daryl do that in a long time either, be in that situation, being choked to death. And that guy, because he looked pretty big, the way he had him down on the ground. And I thought that was a really good scene. I was glad that he tried to poke his eyes out and then he couldn't do that. And then he tried to jam the knife further into the guy and that worked a little bit. And I thought that scene was just a really good scene. And then, of course, Carol does come in, which I knew she was going to, but I'm like, when are you coming? So she finally comes, and that Walker ends up eating that guy, and then they take off to go find their people.
Yeah, but so in the previous show, though, did it show that that's where they were camped out, or that wagon was there and that he was there? I have no recall of that location in the previous episode. So she saw the blood on the ground, but how did she know to go into she might have heard them, but it's how did he get there? What was he there for? And who are these two guys? I mean, that was the one thing that bothered me about it.
I assumed that was where they were loading everything. I thought they had shown them loading previously, but I can't say for sure that they did. Not in this episode. Yeah. In a previous episode.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. It was so
I'm
trivial.
not sure, but I really thought, okay, she's coming up to where their wagon is that they're taking off in. And then that's when she sees the blood and everything thrown all over the place.
But so here's the other thing, though. If everybody's being hunted and taken in, were they both in the clear so that they could just noisily leave in a wagon like that, from town? Or did they get a pass?
Well, Hornsby at that point. Oh, you're talking about before? Or how did they get out?
No, if they were supposedly loading up this wagon to leave and everybody knew they were leaving, why would they be so obviously loading up a wagon? I don't think that wagon was theirs. How could it be? Or was it from way before everybody had to be hauled in? I mean, It doesn't.
They were planning, but they were planning to leave, all of them as a group. They had decided they were going to leave. I don't think it was a secret that they were going to leave.
Oh, okay. So this was before he was killed. Sebastian was eaten.
Yes, right? I think that. Okay, wait. Now I'm getting a little bit. I have to think about it, but
the timeline's a little screwed up. Because how long was that between the Founders Day thing where he gets eaten, and then were they leaving right after that? I think
so. I think they're rushing it. Because they're like, hey, we better get out of here. But what I find interesting also, Margaret, is that I would think that they would be more eagerly trying to get out of there. Like, they may want to do something with us. Let's get our butts out of here. Because why wouldn't you? That they're after Eugene. Maybe they think, oh, well, they've got Eugene. They're going to prosecute him. They're going to leave us, let us go. I'm sorry. I would be like, we need to get out of here at nighttime. Nobody needs to see us get out of here because we need to be able to get out of here safely. That's how I would have approached that. I wouldn't have been so outwardly like, oh, we're leaving. And just like when Carol went up to Ezekiel before that thing happened with Sebastian and said, oh, we're leaving. And I think that they were still planning that. And that's why everybody was gathering together to do that. Everything was sped up because Pamela was pissed off.
Yeah.
So, and she doesn't want them to leave and then somehow come back and get them or attack them. She now says, they're the enemy now. We don't want them as a part of us. And what if they were to come back?
Why would they, though?
They might want something. She knows what type of people they are. They could come and say, hey, we're hungry. We want food. We want ammo. We want to convert people. I don't know.
But that's not their MO, though, at all. They're not the aggressors. I don't see them as being the aggressors unless
they have to be. If they need something, they're going to go get it.
I don't think that they would risk going back there, though, even though they have.
And if they have Eugene and they did, do away with them, I don't know. You just can't. I think in this civilization, in this apocalypse, it's hard to let people go that you're not on good terms with because you never know what they're going to do and come back and do.
Yeah.
It's all very interesting. What else did you notice in this episode?
I thought it was kind of, when Hornsby, when he said before they killed him, oh, I never realized how much of it looks like a prison or how it looks like a prison from out here. Leading into, just all this metaphor crap. Like, it is a prison. And then the people who they're removing, they're taking to prison camp, obviously. and they're working, doing whatever, mining, who knows what, who knows what they're doing. And my big question was, why would they kill people, which is what they did with that group, 2 episodes ago or something, those few people, they killed them to turn them into, the Walking Dead. And then they ended up the ones who were released at the Founders event. So who released them? Did they just get out? Were they kept in a closet and somebody was able to open up the door? How did they come upon that Founders Day thing? Was that just to incite? Is there something underground?
Well, Hornsby, that was orchestrated by Hornsby. Hornsby's 2 people that he was, I don't know if he was just trying to get back at people at that point, or maybe they were trying to break him out. I don't know their actual intent, but it was Hornsby telling those 2 people to do whatever he wanted them to do. And then they went and killed those, the workers and let them out.
Like service people.
Yeah. And let them out.
Yeah. So that's a little confusion, unclear, just and now that they've killed him, they'll never know.
Yeah.
Why he did that.
Yeah.
Because everybody's dead. So he's going to come back as a walker.
Yeah.
Because he's not, they didn't finish the
No,
teeth.
they didn't.
He probably eats Pamela. So you want projections? He's probably the one who kills Pamela.
I know. Can you see him walking in with it? You'll be able to tell because he'll have an arrow right through his neck walking in. I know.
Yep.
So I thought it was interesting how Pamela has kicked it into another gear and how she seems to really be a step ahead, because we thought that they were not that great at orchestrating a lot of stuff, but now we're really seeing her true colors. And, how she asked Yumiko how her stroll in the plaza was, basically telling her that she was, they had their eyes on her, and that how they had taken Connie. Oh man, that sucked. And so also Eugene, now he's conceding his fate.
Yeah.
And I like that conversation that they had between her and him. And also, I thought it was interesting that when Yumiko was giving her speech, and I knew she was going to turn it around. You knew she was. After speaking to Eugene, after talking to her brother, and after going up there, I'm like, she is going to flip it at some point. And it was, I think, when she read something about justice.
Yeah.
But I liked that she asked her brother to stand up and said who he was. Now, this was my thought, and I'll be curious to hear what you think. I thought she was doing that so that people would know who he was, how important he was, so that he doesn't go missing.
Exactly. It's the only reason.
That was because I'm thinking she has to try and save her brother. Otherwise, Pamela will make him disappear.
Yeah.
All right, Margaret, do you have any other thoughts or tidbits?
Yeah. So my whole thing is that these people, there's 50,000 people there per Hornsby, right? So I'm wondering why there hasn't been more action, because they can't control everybody. 50,000 people is a lot of people. So the people who are in this prison camp or this labor camp, which I think is what it is, they probably are all the dissenters. And so I'm just wondering why even the security force doesn't see how this is going sideways. There's unethical things going on all over the place. So that was just what I was wondering, because if she's that much of a dictator, which she apparently is, it's should be able to cut the head off the snake kind of thing,
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. I don't know, but I think we had talked about this in the second, in B of season 11, about how I think some people just go along with it if nothing is disrupting their lives. So if they are getting ice cream and no one's after them, I think that they're just looking the other way. They're just blinded because they're having these comforts in this environment. So I think that's why no one, Yeah,
but not all of them are, though. It depends on it's a whole class system.
It is.
Right? So that's the thing where they've brought it up and talked about it last season, or when they were not living in good places, and then they became security people, and they were living, and they got moved. So all these people who were just in the line for unemployment, whatever the ones they killed,
Yeah.
and then set loose. I mean, who decides that they can't advance in the society? So it's an interesting commentary, I guess, on just economics and socioeconomics, really, because these people probably do have some kind of skill. They just haven't applied it or found a place to use it to make them more valuable. So they're really segregating people based on their value, whether that's educational or it's skill level or, need. I think that somebody would, and I don't know, how long has this place been around?
I don't know. No, I don't know actually, but it must have been around for a while to be this big and look the way it does.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just surprised that there hasn't been any sort of attempt at change or even history where it's something they've tried to do it, or uprising or something.
And I wonder if we're ever going to see the underground people. How we kind of saw people helping Connie and the rest of them with sending them information, and how we saw that room way back when that where people putting out the information. It's like, where are all these people? We haven't really seen them. Are we going to see them?
No,
I don't know. I'm just so curious about it. You had talked about in the beginning about how well you thought this was put together, and I want to say that it is directed by Aisha Tyler. And I really think she's such a good director, because this was her first time directing The Walking Dead. And she directed Fear the Walking Dead. And she's in Fear the Walking Dead. And she's been in so many other things, Criminal Minds and so many other things. And I just think I loved this episode. I thought she did a really good job. I noticed the colors. I think you had mentioned music and the colors of everything. When Hornsby was in the prison, I noticed how almost black and white it looked with just a little bit of color. Yeah. I thought, oh my God, this looks so good. So I thought she had done a really good job. And she's a super fan. And so I love that. I just thought she did a really good job, and hopefully she'll get to, direct a future The Walking Dead universe series, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that Hornsby left that message for Milton. I thought that was pretty good with the coin. And
I didn't understand that.
I think he was just saying, here, I beat your son's head in and here's the coin back. I don't know. Just trying to send a message because she did not seem happy and his head was bashed in, and Daryl didn't do that. He just shot him. So I think Hornsby wanted to give one last dig. And then I really liked that Yumiko and Connie did their scene in ASL. I thought it was so perfect. It moved me. There were no words spoken. It just was very emotional. I was just thinking, and then I felt like they were saying a goodbye. And so I think that is why I felt emotional, because they gave each other that hug and said, this might be the last time we see each other. And I thought, oh my God, what if it really is? What if this is your last scene together? So I just felt the emotion in that. I thought it was really well done.
I liked it too.
So we are at the segment and the award goes to. And so, Margaret, tell me, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
I liked the office scene with her talking to the people. And then Yumiko is brought in and she slaps that guy. That power. And she wasn't even, and Pamela was unfazed by all of that. She didn't get nervous. She didn't do anything. So I thought that was really kind of interesting and also revealing, because Pamela is just like immune to any kind of uprising or insurgents, because she knows she's got the power. And she knows that she can manipulate Yumiko. That scene was just interesting because she really didn't do herself any favors by acting the way that not Pamela, but Yumiko, with those people. Because those people, you could tell that one lady was like a gossip queen. Just the way, you just tell. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays out at all elsewhere. But I liked that scene. I thought it was kind of interesting because it had, it had a little bit of a fight. It had a little bit of a, just kind of foreshadowing of, her resistance. So, I mean, I know you just gush over everything, but did you really have a favorite scene?
It was, and I already mentioned it earlier, but is when Carol tells Hornsby he gets a head start and ends up killing him. And so I love that Hornsby can't get one over on them. The actor, and unfortunately I can't remember his name right now. I think it's Josh Hamilton. Hopefully I have that right. He just did a really good job playing Hornsby. And he says that Hornsby probably respected that it was Carol that killed him and not Daryl because of the relationship he had with her. So I thought that was a cool behind the scenes information from him. But yeah, I would say that was my favorite scene. It was a death scene, Margaret. It was a death scene this time.
Yes. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have talked about some previous characters here, but I want to know, is there a character from a previous season that you would have liked to have seen in this episode? You mentioned Jesus.
Well, earlier I mentioned Jesus. I liked that character, but then I also liked, remember, the girl who was the doctor, who was the love interest?
Yes. Denise.
I liked her a lot.
I think it's Denise. I believe so.
She's killed on the railroad tracks.
Got shot in the eyeball with the arrow.
Yes. I really liked her character. I just thought it was kind of refreshing. So it would be nice to have, have another character like that, but nobody's like that, but she was just so, what's her face? Princess is kind of a different type of character that we haven't really seen in the show, but I really liked her.
Yeah.
Because of what she brought, not for any other reason other than she was kind of a fresh take on things.
Well, that's a good one because I hadn't thought about her.
If they're a strong character, I do remember them.
Yeah.
If they have something to contribute within the context of the show. So am I going to know who you're going to say?
Okay, honestly, I wanted to say Rick, just so you know, because I would like to say Rick on every episode, but I'm not saying Rick yet because I want to save Rick for later on.
Oh my
God. The two people that came to mind one is Dog, because Carol and Daryl were in this the whole time, and I thought Dog would fit in perfectly with them. He's their third leg. And so, or their 4, 5, 6, whatever. That's right. So I think Dog would have been fun to have seen in the scene helping them. He could have helped them. But I also thought about Shane, because if Shane were in this episode, or, in this episode, he would have killed Pamela and she'd be dead. So earlier when you said, why hasn't anybody cut the head off the snake? It would have been Shane. He would have been great. He wouldn't have had any second thoughts. He would have just done it. I just think that it would have been fun to see him in this episode. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything you hope to see, or do you have any predictions? Oh, and I do want to say, I guess my prediction was basically wrong because Hornsby didn't stay alive. So he didn't get to trade everybody.
No.
Unless Pamela takes over and does that. I don't know. We'll see. They still could be taken somewhere. But anyway, tell me, what do you hope to see?
But they're not being sold.
Traded.
Whatever. Traded, sold. They're not on the market. They're just
we don't know.
Used and abused. Oh boy. So what's the question? Do I have any predictions?
Or what do you hope to see in the next episode?
Well, I really want to see the groups converge, because you've got like 2 or 3 different splinters of the groups, right? Of the group. And the bulk of them are over in the prison camp, and then the others are making their way back to home. Yet somebody's got to escape to give them word that this is going on. There's trouble in Wonderland, Alice, kind of like, So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that they've got to converge at this point. How many more episodes are left? 3?
Oh, don't tell me. I don't know. I don't want to think about it right now. How many are we left? Yeah.
No, but if you project it from that, you've got to start having some action going on, because we've been strung along, and now it's like, well,
yeah.
What has to happen to tie it all up?
Exactly.
So what are your thoughts?
Where are they taking them on this bus?
To the camp. Well, we know. They showed this in the clip.
Well, they just showed them drugging them.
No. That was in the episode. In the
Oh,
clip,
in the clip.
they talk about "You're mine now" or whatever. The trailer for the next show.
Well, all I saw them was on the bus saying we need to, Negan and Jerry are like, was it Negan and Jerry? Negan and somebody. Oh, Ezekiel.
Negan,
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Saying, are we going to do this?
Well, so they attack the bus. They probably kill the people on the bus, and then they enter. They probably drive the bus into the prison camp thing.
I don't know. That's why there's so many loose ends. I don't know what's happening. Because, okay, so at the end of the episode, we see that they're being drugged, right? They're shooting up Ezekiel and his head goes down. First, I couldn't tell who it was. I'm like, it looks like his hair, but then the jacket didn't look like his jacket. But then when I saw the previews, it was his jacket. I'm like, where'd he get this jacket from? But anyway, I thought Negan.
It was like a members only jacket.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. Exactly.
Oh my God.
Maggie and Negan were there. So I thought they were on the bus too. And I thought, how did they get them on the bus? But you're saying that you think that they attacked the bus and maybe got on it? Because I thought, how did they get everybody on the bus? To me, it seemed like the only people that weren't on the bus were Daryl and Carol, Yumiko and Eugene. Because I felt like everybody else was being transported, but I'm very confused as to what is going to happen. The train is going to be something that happens here. Are they going to get on the train and take off? I don't know. I'm just so curious. I wonder how they are going to wrap this all up within a few more episodes left. How are they going to do that? I really don't want them to leave us hanging so much. I know that they're spinoffs, but it's hard for me to figure out how they're going to wrap it up in the next few episodes. But I guess anything is possible. I guess things could move along really quickly. I just don't want them to leave us with a huge cliffhanger as being the end of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, but that's how they do things now. And then we'll do a movie like Sex and the City. Oh, we'll do a movie. Yeah. Let's do another movie. So, I don't know. I think,
But not everybody will be in it. There's too many characters. Like, we need to see where a majority of these characters end up. Yes, we know there's spinoffs. We know who the people are in the spinoffs. But what about all the other people that we care about that are not in the spinoffs? There's Rosita. There's Aaron. There's Ezekiel. There's Father Gabriel. There's the kids. Yes, we hope we'll see them with Michonne and Rick at some point, but somehow they're going to have to end their story here on The Walking Dead. God. I don't know. So much to think about. Can't wait for the next episode, but then I can. Okay, Margaret. I guess that ties up our conversation on The Walking Dead because we're going to continue to try to figure out what's happening with them. All right. Are you watching any TV or movies?
Well, since my life has been a mess for the last 3 months, I've been missing all the shows that I really enjoyed. And I do luckily have a few subscriptions to some of those apps that allow you to go back and watch like an entire season so you can binge everything because everything's been playing since September and now it's the end of October. So I really enjoyed Home Economics last season, and I decided to tune in again. And it's a real quick giggle fest because of the characters and the interplay and just the subject matter. And normally, but this time I watched it and, I fell asleep. But I fall asleep all the time now because I'm so freaking tired. But I was just surprised. It just didn't feel as funny as it was last season. And and maybe because it's just not fresh to me anymore. But it's funny, but quirky, but it's kind of shticky too. And I think they've just, I think they're trying to be a Modern Family kind of show with the interplay and all that. I don't know. I still enjoy it, but I just thought it was better last year. So far. But,
yeah.
And then, of course, I watched the end of Cobra Kai. And that was, again, I kept falling asleep.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know how you're falling asleep on Cobra Kai.
I just closed my eyes.
It was so good.
Well, yeah, I guess. And so then I would have to
it's good.
rewatch a little bit of it. But yeah, it was okay. It's still wide open, for somebody to come back from prison who we thought was killed and start up again this rivalry. So it'll be interesting. And then the pregnancy, there's a lot of loose ends. Talking about loose ends, that has a lot of loose ends. So they're just leaving the door open. So, but that's okay. It's entertaining. I mean, it's pure entertainment. It's not really serious at all. But the cast is getting older and older and older. So it's going to be hard to shoot them as teenagers or.
Right. They're going to have to move on. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they need this baby. So you always watch really kind of interesting stuff because you have a couple apps that I don't have. So what have you been watching?
I have been watching so many TV shows and movies that are, I've already recommended, but I've finished several of them. I am going to talk about a new one, but the 3 that I finished were House of the Dragon finale. And I did do a standalone House of the Dragon episode. So look for that, releasing this week. But that was good. Oh. Margaret, I don't know if
I don't have HBO.
Oh, okay. It's so good. It's really good. Game of Thrones, I'm such a fan. And so House of the Dragon was really good.
The author or the baby lives here in Santa Fe.
Oh, really?
I found that out from my sidekick, the two of us. And his girlfriend has his sister-in-law has a spice shop. And apparently that guy comes in and buys things. So they see him on a regular basis. I don't know what his name is. I don't have a clue, but yeah. Game of Thrones guy.
You're talking about the author, right? The actual George R.R. Martin?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
He told me yesterday and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool.
He's still writing his books. It makes me want to read the books. I'm not a huge book reader because I watch so much TV, but it made me want to read it because I want to read the details. I want to learn more about that.
Yeah.
I also finished The Patient on Hulu. Oh my God. The finale was shocking. It's a very dark series. Okay, Margaret, I did cry, but I'm not the only one that cried because somebody else I know cried. I cried too.
Well, I started watching that and I wasn't my scene.
It's very dark, but I liked it. I went through the end and it was, Steve Carell and Domhnall Gleeson. But it ended, so it was a good one. But only watch it if you're okay with watching these psychological thrillers that can be very dark. I'm also finished watching Tell Me Lies, the finale again. It's on Hulu. It's about a toxic romance between college students Stephen and Lucy, and this group of college friends are tested and shaped by lies and secrets and conflict and sex and manipulation. And it does have a time span of 8 years. I think it starts in 2007, I believe. And there is going to be a second season and it is based on a book. So there's that. And then the new show that I started watching, which I had been anticipating because I heard about it a while back, and it's called House of Curiosities. It's on Netflix. It's Guillermo del Toro's creation. It's an anthology series. It's, I believe, 8 episodes. I only saw 1 episode. But what's really cool about this series is Guillermo del Toro comes out and talks. And it reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock, when he used to come out and talk about his shows. Well, Guillermo does the same thing. And I just really love him as a filmmaker. So it made me want to watch this. I only saw the first episode. First episode has Tim Blake Nelson. He's a bigoted war veteran who just wants to make money, and he buys a storage unit. You know how when they go and they bid on a storage unit and they get all the contents? Yeah. But it's the content that begins this, I'm not going to give it away at all, but that's the big thing about, this whole horror episode. It's interesting because Guillermo himself, I guess, had a unit bought from him. And so he tried to get back his stuff, and he had a hard time. And that plays into this particular episode. And I do want to mention that Andrew Lincoln is in one of these. but I haven't seen it yet. So I will probably watch it and report on it in our future podcast episodes. But anyway, that is House of Curiosities on Netflix. I don't have a movie to recommend. I started to watch Hellraiser, but like Margaret, I fell asleep. And so
Hellraiser, is that like a Marvel kind of thing? Or
no, Hellraiser, isn't it Hellraiser? Maybe I have the wrong name. It's a remake, like a remake of the original movie. Yeah, it's a 1987 movie and they did a remake of it.
I didn't know that.
But I had come from a wedding and I was, you know what happens at weddings. So who knows if it was that or if it's just I wasn't as interested and it didn't capture my attention. Maybe it's a little bit of both. So I don't have a movie to recommend to you, but I do have those shows.
You're funny. You know what? I've been hearing all this stuff about people talking about, oh, crap. I don't remember.
What?
The Tom Cruise, what's that movie?
Top Gun?
Top Gun. So people are still talking about the latest Top Gun and how great it is. I haven't seen it. I'm going to have to. It is
great. It's a lot of people like it better than the first one.
Really?
This one's more about the action. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And it's done really well. Mm-hmm. It's done really well. So yes, watch Top Gun. And I did do a podcast on that too. So everybody check that out. All right, Margaret, thank you for your recommendation and your insight. Your insights.
You about 2 things.
That's true. Yes. That's true. 2 things. Yes. And, but of course, I love all your insights on The Walking Dead. I always love getting your perspective. All right. And that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you tuned in and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website and follow Screens in Focus and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. Wherever you listen, if you can rate and review, that would be awesome. We'll be releasing a new episode next week. Look for The House of the Dragon releasing this week. Next show will be on The Walking Dead, season 11, episode 21. You can find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time. Bye.